Join Andy for this edition of Sports Blitz Live.
Good Saturday morning to everybody, and welcome into the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. Glad that you've joined us out there, either by TV, by radio, by Facebook Live, whatever mode that you've chosen. We appreciate it. You can give us a call, 256-234-6221, if you'd like to call. You can comment away on Facebook Live throughout the program. We're here for 2 hours with you, as we are every Saturday morning. Randy, good to see you this morning, and there is a bunch to dive into on this Saturday. It's gorgeous outside. Been a really, really pretty weekend to this point. So there's going to be some more pretty weather around this area, and it's a good time for baseball because regional action going on with college baseball. It started yesterday across the country. Auburn, first time hosting a regional since 2010. That is 7 consecutive regional wins for the Auburn Tigers now after they beat Southeast Louisiana, and boy did they get off to a flaming start.
Well, that's what they need. You know, I think the pitching's been pretty solid all season long for Auburn. At times the bats go silent. Sonny has to, stay hot, and we hope that he gets hot during this tournament stretch. But it was great to see Auburn hit with some power. 5 home runs in the first 2 innings yesterday. Came out swinging the bats, and that's going to be needed. You can say all of those consecutive wins in a row for Auburn, but sitting here as an Auburn fan overall, I'm just glad we're in it to have an opportunity, Brett. Yeah, we have had success, but there's something to be said about just getting there. Oh, yeah. And letting the pieces fall as they may. And, that's one thing that I think Butch Thompson's doing more times than not now. And so you got to give him the benefit of the doubt there.
I think 3 out of the last 4 years now, Auburn regional, super regional action, and then, College World Series a couple of years ago. So this is becoming the consistent trend for Auburn baseball. They talked about the crowd last night and understanding how to get as many people in that park or around that park during a game to kind of give it an Ole Miss, Mississippi State feel, and it does now. They sit out in the outfield about 10 deep along the parking deck. There's people everywhere they can get a look, and it's changed the atmosphere. I heard them talk about it. So they opened up with Ole Miss and went on the road, and they were in front of over 10,000 people every night, and they came back home to their first series and had 800 in the stands. I mean, he said we're competing in a totally different league if we don't change the way we approach, attendance and getting people here. So they turned up the heat on marketing, and if you saw that ballpark last night, it gave you a feeling of Mississippi State or Texas A&M or Ole Miss. It was loud early. Of course, people got disinterested because it was a blowout, but tonight's going to be unreal. Florida State and Auburn, the history they've had in regional play in the past, most time it's Auburn having to go to Tallahassee to play, and we know about the David Ross home run and just the ties between those two programs. And, Florida State, this is 44 consecutive years, I think, they've made a regional tournament. Most time they host. So that place will be electric tonight. It'll be a fun environment. Joseph Gonzalez will toe the rubber for Auburn. But welcome back, Cole Foster. I mean, been out with injury for a while. He comes back last night, and his first 4 at-bats, he hits 3 home runs. I mean, almost hit another one right at the end of the game, had a double. I mean, this guy, one guy can spark.
Oh, baseball especially.
An entire lineup.
The rest of the lineup just does what they've done all season long, right. And then you get a hot batter, and he's hitting with power, especially. That can really change what you see for the Auburn Tigers moving forward, and it's great to have everyone back. Brett, if you had to ask for something yesterday, you got it. I'm not saying a 2 and a 3 seed or a big discrepancy, but UCLA was the 2 and Florida State was the 3 for a reason.
Right.
So you got the 3 to win. So you're playing the lesser of the 2 tonight. So things line up. You got your pitcher going that you want to have out there on the mound for
Set
Auburn.
up for you.
You're going to have an electric atmosphere. Let me go back to that you brought up. I think Tennessee in baseball and Auburn in basketball has proven that if you give these programs that maybe don't seem to have as much passion as others, we'll come out. All of these SEC schools, especially Auburn, Tennessee, schools like that, our fan base is as rabid as anyone else. We just need something to cheer for.
That's right.
And when you're only on your 5th winning SEC season since 1999 for Auburn baseball. Now, let me make sure that it's hard to get a winning season.
No, it's hard to get a winning season.
I'm not knocking that, but we are 23 years since Hal Baird, and Auburn's only had 5 winning seasons in SEC play, this year being one of them. And Auburn's getting a sense now that this may not be a one-and-done setup with Butch Thompson. I think I have that sense that Butch Thompson has played the cards he's dealt, and he's played them extremely well. And things may look up in the future the way that he's putting things together now. And I think the transfer policies and the NIL and some of the changes that are coming down the line in college baseball may be very good for Auburn and hopefully Alabama baseball as well, because it'd be nice for there to be a true in-state rivalry again.
You know, I'm very impressed. I think Auburn's very fortunate to have Butch Thompson. He's a good leader. He puts a really good product on the field. He knows how to recruit. He's got a really good coaching staff that knows how to go out and sell the program. I think, as you said, the NIL in this particular case will only help Auburn. And baseball is an affordable sport to go watch. I mean, when you look at basketball, you can't get in the arena. It's hard to get a ticket. Football tickets, we all know how expensive it is just to go down on a Saturday with a family and go to a football game. You could have bought the entire package for the weekend, every single game, for $75. You got a ticket to every game of the regional for $75, and it was basically first come, first serve, and you could get on there early and pick your seats. And we know some guys that went, and some of our friends that got on there early enough, and they picked their seats. They're sitting right behind the dugout. I mean, it's like 2 or 3 rows behind the dugout. So it's an affordable sport to take your family to in this day and age. So if you love it, and of course it's sold out, but you go down there and you'll be able to find some tickets, because a lot of these Southeast Louisiana fans bought tickets. And they had a pretty good contingent there I saw last night. Somebody's going to lose. Now, I don't think UCLA probably brought a whole bunch, but if Southeast were to lose, there'll be some tickets available for people outside. And so if you want to go, and if you want to get there early enough and go sit out on the parking deck, you can do that. You can get out there behind right field and pull you a chair right up to the fence and wheel your cooler up there and whatever you want to do, and have you a good old time out there in right field.
Well, here's another reason that I think Auburn University is primed for baseball success is because that community, and you can say that, certain communities in the state are better than others at certain sports. There's no community in the state of Alabama right now. There are a few that are semi-equal, but there's none any better than Auburn and what they're doing with baseball. I watch what their young kids do with that sport and how it transitions into great high school baseball led by Matt Semo and others over there. And that, I think, has kind of compounds in that area,
it does.
Brett, because if you've got a population which continues to expand tremendously over in Auburn that's baseball rabid, and baseball starts hitting and starts going,
now,
and then you add the Columbus and Phoenix City area, and Phoenix City finally getting over the hump and winning a 7A baseball championship.
And they're not going anywhere.
All of those are right there in a short distance. So it's always been baseball hungry, but I think we've been playing an uphill battle for so long based off of the lotteries in the bordering states and how tough it is to go out there and compete with our in-state kids from a recruiting standpoint with what we can offer a baseball prospect in comparison to what Mississippi State and Ole Miss. But if those things start coming in, Brett, and getting a little bit closer to even playing field,
sure,
I think Auburn's positioned to, much like Tennessee, go into this next 20 years potentially having outstanding baseball.
I think you're right on. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, go ahead. You're on the Saturday Sports Countdown.
I'd like to know where Patrick Browning went when he left Pike Road.
Patrick Browning went to Greenville High School.
Greenville.
Yes, sir.
And I would also like to know how Benjamin Russell's coming along and finding a new coach too.
Benjamin Russell has hired a new coach, and we're going to discuss that here in just a little bit on the next segment. So,
okay, I'll hang up and listen to it then.
Yes, sir. Thank you for calling. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yep, a lot of news, a lot of stuff to talk about this morning as Benjamin Russell does hire a new coach, and we'll talk about that hire here on the other side of this break. But just to finish up your discussion on Auburn baseball, I think you're right. I think you're seeing a community thrive from youth all the way up through the college program down there. And Tim Hudson heavily involved, Gabe Gross heavily involved. I'm not talking about just Auburn University, but throughout the community and what they do. And then you've got, of course, Butch Thompson, who's leading the whole pack. So it's a good staff. Once you catch fire, Auburn basketball's proven this. Once you catch fire, and see, Bruce Pearl gave Butch Thompson some ideas about how to increase the crowd. So they kind of went into Operation, I forgot what they called it last night, Operation Attendance, or I don't know what it is, but anyway, it was a push to say, let's make this area out here in right field a fun place for people to come up. We're not going to put any restrictions on anything. Just if you want to show up out here, you can see because of the way the fence is. You got the hill. People can kind of terrace all the way up the hill. That place was full last night.
Wait till tonight.
Oh, man, it'll be – well, and then wait till night, and then if Auburn wins and gets in that championship game on Sunday, it really is going to be something else.
Well, Bruce Pearl, I say it seems like every time that we're on air.
He's rejuvenated everything down there.
Well, everyone, if you're lucky enough to get a leader that can carry others with them, like, you've always heard there are just some leaders that you gravitate to, and if you get on their back, they'll lead you to the promised land.
Right.
And right now for Auburn Athletics, I feel that way with Bruce Pearl because he can sell it, man. He can coach it, and he can go out and get the kids and recruit and do all of those things. And I'm not knocking that, but the one thing that Bruce Pearl can do better than we've ever had at Auburn University is advertise and market.
And I'm going to tell you, to go along with what you said, and I know he's a good basketball coach, and I want him there as long as possible. But when he hangs it up, I think he could be a better athletic director. I don't know that he wants to deal with that. I don't know that that's even in his mind. When he hangs up coaching basketball, whenever that is, I hope it ain't anytime soon. But he's probably going to go to the lake because he's a guy that's got multiple hobbies and does things, outside of just his job. He loves to travel. He loves to do things. So he's not probably going to be one that coaches to the very nth and then just goes home. He may have other plans, but if he were to entertain another career, I think he'd be a hell of an athletic director for Auburn. I mean, he's already showing the leadership and the understanding of the landscape of how to bring new blood and new life to your program.
Well, he's one of those where the changing landscape of recruiting and NIL and money that it takes, and I don't know if you noticed Ohio State's football coach yesterday
$13 million. It was
coming out and saying, "Look, y'all want to
Yeah.
keep these recruits. Y'all want to. This is what it's going to cost." And I know we're up against a break,
Yep.
but that is a tough ask to go out to your boosters year in and year out and say,
Can't do
"Look,
it.
it's going to be 15 to 20 million to put a competitive team out there on the field from
Can't
a
do
recruiting
it.
standpoint." Well, I just don't know how long boosters are going to be willing to say, "Well, I'm here to foot the bill for you." I could understand if I had $100 million and you came and you asked me to put my name on the side of the arena.
That's right.
I could almost
That's a one-time deal.
It's a one-time pop. It's a building that's going to sit there. It's a legacy that you have created and you've worked extremely
But
hard
this is
for. And you
different.
can, but you're going to every year you're the one footing the bill to put
Can't do it.
a competitive team out there because others are. That is a tough sell. I wouldn't let me answer that with
Yeah.
Bruce Pearl in the athletic director position. That would be one sell I wouldn't want to have to make every year.
Well, there's only in reality about 4 teams that could even sustain this model, And one of them just came out and said, it ain't sustainable. So really, the college football model right now is broken. And it's like when I was on the show with Gary Harris yesterday morning, he said, look, if people don't get on board with this, it's going to collapse on itself. He said, we can sit there and come up with every scenario we want. And, we're glad that, kids are able to go out and earn all these NIL deals, but they've gone about it the wrong way. There are no rules. There are no stipulations, and you got to have rules in society. You can have a system put in place. You can allow things to happen, but you can't free willy-nilly just go out there and say, all right, here it is, to do whatever you want to do, however long you want to do it, because there is a price tag to everything. And even the Ohio States, who's got probably more money than anybody in the country, is sitting there saying, it's going to take me $13 million just to sustain my roster every year. You think that's going to stay at that number? I mean, look at inflation. Are gas prices the same today as they were 6 months ago? I mean, so that $13 million in a few years would be $18 million, $20 million. It's only going to go up. So we got a lot of that to talk about, too, when we come back. Stay tuned. More Saturday Sports Countdown right after this.
Farmers and Merchants Bank of Dadeville is building a foundation of strength and trust in the entire Lake Martin community. With our modern branch in Dadeville and caring, attentive staff, we've established Farmers and Merchants Bank as a reliable friend to your banking needs. Whether it's just a savings or checking account or any commercial, auto, or real estate loan, Farmers has local decision-making to build a relationship with you and your needs. Farmers and Merchants Community Bank. Strength, service, community.
What's the verdict?
Can't fix your heat pump. Need a new one.
Uh-oh. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking Daikin.
Call on Kevin Kill and Sunshine Heating and Air at 256-825-4849, Central Alabama's premier Daikin dealer.
So what's he thinking?
Oh, he's thinking Daikin.
Daikin, one of the top selling in the world.
Now I'm thinking Daikin.
Daikin. Comfort for life.
Russell Do-It Center and building supply stores have the tools and materials to get the job done right, whether you're a professional contractor or just a weekend do-it-yourselfer. With everyday customer conveniences like a drive-through lumberyard, price match promise, and our Best Rewards program, each of our 9 locations offer top brands and building materials like lumber, hardware, tools, paint, lawn and garden, and much more. Visit today and see what Russell Do-It Center and Building Supply can help you build tomorrow.
You want the best opportunity to be successful in life. You deserve that opportunity. Well, you just happens to be in our motto. Central to you, central to your success. Your future is right now. Don't wait. Make your dreams a reality by enrolling at Central Alabama Community College. Register today at cacc.edu.
Don't be caught in a dirty vehicle. Lake Martin Mobile Detailing will have your vehicle or boat looking like brand new in no time, and you'll be back driving in style. They specialize in detailing, paint correction, gel coat restoration, and ceramic coating. Take it to the professionals at Lake Martin Mobile Detailing. Call them today at 256-794-2328 or stop by and see them at 702 McCarty Road in Dadeville. Mention this ad and receive $10 off. Lake Martin Mobile Detailing for your cleanest vehicles around.
Skag, the toughest name in lawnmowers. Unmatched quality and performance for over 3 decades. The clear choice, the best mower money can buy for work or at home. Top lawn care professionals and discerning homeowners know that Skag means productivity and reliability. Every Skag mower is proudly built right here in the USA. Don't settle for anything less than simply the best. Skag.
Satterfield Outdoor Living on Highway 280 in Alex City.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR's Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. If you'd like to call us, 256-234-6221 is the number. Got some comments. Justin just saying good morning to us. Good morning to you, Justin. And Brian is giving us a couple of highs this morning. So hi to Brian out there. Been a long time viewer of our program out there. We'll shift gears a little bit. Again, anything you want to talk about, we'll get into it. There's a lot to discuss. We just opened up talking about the regional down the road. Again, it's been since 2010. So if you want to go watch some baseball and go see some good baseball teams, you don't have anything planned for today, be a good opportunity to jump in the car. I'm sure you'll be able to get in at noon to watch that UCLA and Southeast Louisiana game. And Southeast Louisiana, a good baseball team. They just got shell-shocked in the first inning, man. And, you know, that happens in baseball sometimes. Shift gears a little bit. News on the high school front. Article came out yesterday in AL.com, so it's out pretty much everywhere. I was able to do an interview with Coach Grider a couple of days ago at the announcement. So Smitty Grider, now the new head football coach at Benjamin Russell High School, comes with a very good track record everywhere he's been. And, you know, just everybody that we've talked to around the state has spoken very highly of him and said that, you know, Benjamin Russell got a good coach there. And after spending a few minutes with him and being able to sit down and talk to him, he's excited to be here. He understands the challenge, the timing. He said taking a job in June is a lot different than taking one in January or March, but he said, I'm excited about the opportunity and what we're going to be able to do here.
Well, it's a tough time, and I do want to preface whatever we say here in that you and I have been broadcasting Wildcat football for 21 years for you, and this will be 16 or 17
right.
for me, and we've stayed out of the fray up to this point when it comes to hiring a football coach. You ever been on a search committee?
Never.
I've never been on
never
one.
Never been asked to be, and to be honest, don't want to be. And that's not a slap. We want to help, and we do with our program, but that's not our repertoire.
Well, we've got to go out there and verbally communicate to the people that trust us our thoughts on coaching hires, and
right.
And it's impossible to do that and then you be part of a committee that's out there hiring someone and something may not work out. So look, I'm ecstatic that Coach Grider's here, but I've felt that way just about every coach that we've gone out and gotten since I was a youngster, and we were lucky enough to go get Steve Savarese in the mid-'80s, and he changed everything around here. We went over the next 20-plus years where we never had a losing season in Ellick City. We didn't win a lot of championships, but we won a whole bunch of region and area championships, and we knocked on the door of state championships every year. And I knew that we had a strong competitive program.
You're in the hunt every year.
That growing up you could feel passionate enough to be a part of, and we were very lucky because the generation before us did not have that.
That's right.
I think for 11 years they only had 4 winning seasons before Coach Sav got here. So he and Coach Martin and Lazenby and everyone that's been since then.
4 Hall of Famers.
Has been great coaching hires, and they have taken our programs to the next level. And I'm hoping Smitty Grider gets that opportunity here, that we put solid backing behind him. He has proven when he has had the Bows and the Joes that he can put them out there in a perfect position to win football games. He's won 25 and 65 overall.
Right.
I do like that he's got 190 football games, head coaching experience under his belt. He's been at different programs too. He's been at a smaller school that actually grew during his tenure at Beauregard. He's been at Central Coosa that was even smaller than that.
Right.
And then he moves on and starts a school from scratch in Park Crossing that you and I covered extensively, because through the HSA you had to cover Park Crossing extensively while he was there, with Malik Cunningham at quarterback, and you've seen what he's done since he's moved on to the college ranks at Louisville. We knew what a great team Park Crossing had. They lost a heartbreaker in 2016 to Opelika in the semis after going 13-0 up to that point.
Right.
So my point being, he's been at different programs, he's done different things, and he's been successful wherever he's been. And he is very much welcomed here in Ellick City, and we all hope that he can do the same for our program.
Yeah, I think he, one of the first things he said in the interview that you can go and watch if you would like, on our Sports Blitz page. He said, I know what I'm coming into. He said, this is a program that does not need to be built. He said, we need to get it back to the tradition that he said that I've always been used to since I've been watching it back in the early 90s when he was an assistant at Opelika. And he said, I also realized that this program has had 4 Hall of Fame coaches in the last 35, 40 years. And so he said, I know I've got big shoes to fill. So he understands. And again, one of the first things he said is, he said, I've been following this program since the early 90s. And he said, I've been around a lot of programs and been all over the state. And he said there's 2 that stand out to him as communities that are just over the top about their football programs. He said one's Opelika.
Yes.
And he said the other one's Alexander City.
Yeah.
He said, and I'm saying that from personal experience. He said, I remember coming up here to the Sportplex for the first time when we coached and played against
my senior
Russell.
year.
He said the most unbelievable thing he'd seen.
Yeah.
You know, he said, so you don't understand a lot of times until you hear it from an outsider's perspective. And I've told kids that plenty of times when you go out and you recruit and you travel around and you see what others have and what others don't have. If you want to find out what you do have, just get in your car and drive around and look, and then it makes you appreciate. So again, we have not won to the level that we're used to in the last several years, and it's not a cut on anybody. It's not a cut on the kids. It's not a cut on coaches. It just happens sometimes, and you go through down cycles, and you're trying to get back to a consistent level and somebody that will be here and sustain a program where you can build a foundation and continue to build on that year after year.
Well, I will expand on one thing that he said yesterday, because I was very much involved in the first few times that he got a good chance to see the rivalry between Opelika and Benjamin Russell. And it's hard to explain to a lot of people out there today how big of a rivalry it was back in the 90s.
2 very similar communities.
Because Opelika got away from us. Right. And they absolutely got away from us starting in the early part of the 2000s and moving on. Right. And we actually got out of the series because it got away from us too far. But in those 90s, the first game that he comes over as part of Spence McCracken's staff in 95, we lost the game on a 47-yard field goal, 13-10. Next year, we go over with one of our best teams in 96, go to Opelika, fumble the football with under a minute to go, going into the end zone from the 1-yard line, and lose that football game. It's the only game that we lost during the regular season up until the quarterfinals that year. And then the following year, we play a number 1 ranked Opelika team in week 9 or week 8 of the season. Right. Beat them. They don't make the playoffs after going 8-2 on the season because of area play.
That's right.
And we go on 6A and play for a state championship that year. So his first 3 years, he witnesses 3 of the craziest high school football games that I can remember during my lifetime. And all 3 of those games were 3 tremendous Opelika and Benjamin Russell teams. And so I think that does kind of sit back in the back of your mind, like, man, what if I am in the lead of this? And he was around such great football there with Spence McCracken and what they did at Opelika. And so I think he's dead on. I don't know of 2 communities in this state that get as rabid as Elliott City and Opelika when football's good. Now, we can jump off the ship just like everyone else out there. We just talked about it with Tennessee baseball and Auburn basketball. Nobody's going to watch Auburn basketball when you weren't winning games. Very few. Nobody was rabid over in Tennessee with that baseball program until they now are 53-7 on the season.
To be rabid about.
So it's the same in high school sports. So you got to put a winning product out there, and Coach Grider's proven that he can, and we're going to support him here as hard as we can, you and I being 2 of them.
Absolutely. That's what we do. Whoever that person is in that role, that's who we're going to support because we support the school. We support that high school. I told you yesterday, I said I'll never pull for another high school in my life. That's the high school that I went to. That's who I'm going to pull for, and that's who I'm going to support. And he's the head man of that program. And it's just like anything that you're tasked with in education. You do it for the kids. that's what your mentality should be, to do it for the kids. And our kids are deserving. They work hard. They have some talent on this team. I'm excited about their opportunity moving forward, and I know he is as well. And he'll be making some announcements over the next few weeks with new staff that he'll be bringing on as well to be part of this program. So up against another break. Stay tuned. More Saturday Sports Countdown right after this.
Growing your business isn't just one thing. It's a million little things. Should you lease, rent, or own? How fast can you get that part? Does it fit the budget? That's what your local cat dealer is here for. With expert advice, flexible financing, and industry-leading equipment, you can get the job done day after day. Visit ThompsonCat.com, your compact equipment provider.
WOTM is the television provider for all Alabama High School Athletic Association championship events and special programs. WOTM is your home for the Super 7 football, state finals basketball, baseball and softball state championships, the AHSAA weekly show, and WOTM also produced the first ever football playoff show, Super 7 preview show, and reclassification reveal show. Your exclusive home for all things AHSAA is WOTM. Contact your local cable provider to request WOTM to your channel lineup.
You want the best opportunity to be successful in life. You deserve that opportunity. Well, you just happens to be in our motto, central to you, central to your success. Your future is right now. Don't wait. Make your dreams a reality by enrolling at Central Alabama Community College. Register today at cacc.edu.
Alex City Internal Medicine and Nephrology and Weight Loss Center provides optimum care for the whole person. Dr. Dimo Popov specializes in the prevention and diagnosis of high blood pressure, kidney disease, diabetes, and acute and chronic conditions. Our weight loss clinic offers lipo shots and a guide to healthy weight loss. Alex City Internal Medicine and Nephrology and Weight Loss Center, where lifestyle changes are made.
When the Lake Martin area wants country, it turns to Kalijah Country 97.5. Lake Martin's best country.
Goes like 1 margarita, 2 margarita, 3 margarita shot. And if the house just keeps on winning, I got a wild card up my sleeve. And I wish grandpa's never died.
Lake Martin's best country is on Kalijah Country 97.5.
For more than 40 years, Ingram Equipment Company has helped companies, towns, and cities with their dirtiest, most challenging jobs by providing the very best equipment and by helping them keep in tip-top working condition. IEC represents leading manufacturers such as Heil garbage truck bodies, Timco sweepers, Step pothole patchers, and many more. We proudly support all athletes and teams that compete across the state and wish them good luck this year. Ingram Equipment Company, ingramequipment.net.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. You see Sunshine Heating and Air's logo there on the screen. If you're watching on Facebook or TV, 256-825-4849. That's Sunshine Heating and Air's phone number. Kevin Keel and his great staff down there do a phenomenal job on heating and air. If you need heating and air work, they're who you need to call. They've got a ton of business, man. They're so busy right now. So.
I've had a couple of texts already come through that they enjoyed hearing about just going down memory lane of some of those Benjamin Russell and Opelika games from the 90s. I will say a stat because you and I have been doing this a long time. There's always a stat that I remember. Between 1990 and 2000, Benjamin Russell played Opelika 11 times. Opelika won 6, Benjamin Russell won 5. You know what the score discrepancy was?
You've told me before.
167 to 166. So if you wonder why in the world do people bring that up all the time? It's that. It's every time we played
It
one
may have
another.
been one of the biggest rivalries in the entire state. I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, because at the time, when did they go to 7 classifications?
Well, they didn't until, 10 years
That's
ago?
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So you're playing in the highest level of football in a rivalry like that with two communities that rabid, and there's 1 point that separates you. Man.
In an 11-year period.
In an 11-year stretch where basically the only reason it's not 500 is because you had to play an odd number of games. So that's amazing. That shows you why it was standing room only and 10 deep around the fence, you know, when those two teams got together.
That old Opelika field.
Right.
And I don't think I'm stepping on anybody's toes by saying the visitor side of that old Opelika field was pitiful. I mean, you had hardly nowhere to sit.
Right.
And so we were all up, on the hillside.
Right.
Beside the concession stand is
training.
about the only place that you could find. Now Opelika's field's as good as we have in the state. It's a beautiful place. I'm not knocking it, but it was bad back then. It was ugly. And so we'd go over there and play, and, man, we would just be swarming like ants over there on the visitor side because you knew what you had, you knew what they had, you knew how passionate they were. One thing I always remember, and maybe it'll be fun because we're in the summer, so let's stay down memory lane. The one thing I remember about Opelika was their band.
Oh, yeah.
How big was their band
Massive,
at that time?
man. Probably 300 members.
I can remember them lining the stadium before the game and going, how many of these humans do this? Like, now, when you travel the state of Alabama, and I tell my mom actually was on me. My mom was a majorette. She loves majorette. She loves dancing. You and I got dance recital today, so that's kind of her passion. That's her thing. And so she's like, well, all these bands don't have majorettes anymore, and they don't have this. I said, Mom, it ain't just that they don't have majorettes. They don't have members.
Yeah, it's
we
declined
have seen programs that had massive bands back in the day. 300 members dwindle down to 100. I don't know where it is in Opelika.
I don't either.
But we've seen them all around the state where they've lost at least half of what they had back then. But do you remember that? And
Absolutely.
how good their bands were?
Always have been. And but I think that goes in line with every program at a school. When your football team's good, or you got good cheerleaders, it all kind of goes hand in hand. You don't really see, just one thing that's good. It kind of permeates the entire school. And it's a whole image that you portray, whether it's the band going to a competition, or, your football team making the playoffs, or your baseball team, putting together one postseason run after another, softball, just name whatever. It kind of permeates the entire school, and we can name a bunch of examples of schools throughout the state that when you see that particular name, it kind of makes your brain go in, man, they got this, and they got this, and they're good at this, and all this kind of stuff. So when you saw Opelika's band roll up at a competition, and they just literally, no pun intended, blew everybody away and got top marks and top scores, your whole mentality about Opelika is like, man, they do everything right down there. Man, everything they do, from volleyball to band to football to baseball, they put a good product on the field, competitive. They're always going to get after you. One thing Coach Grider said yesterday in the interview is he said, you don't know how many games you're going to win. You don't know what you're going to do. That's why you play the game. Nothing's ever a given, even if you're a heavy favorite or if you're an underdog. That's the fun of playing the sport. But he said one thing you can control is what that team thinks about you when they leave. And he said, we want to get to the point when, no matter win, lose, or draw, when they get on the bus, or when we get on the bus and leave their place or wherever we're playing, that they go, we don't really want to play them anymore.
Well, I think back, you and I have been doing this a long time, so I actually saw it one of the Super Sixes at the time. Now it's changed to Super 7, but it was a Super 6, and I had a Fayette County guy that was about my age come up and say, where are y'all from? I don't know if you remember this conversation, but you and I were about to do a ball game, and they were playing in the championship game.
I remember, yep.
The individual came up and he said, where are y'all from? I said, we're from Elliott City, went to Benjamin Russell High School. He said, let me tell you. He said, Coach Tucker got us into a series against Benjamin Russell back in the 90s.
Sure did.
And I want to tell you a story. And I said, well, tell me the story. My senior year, and they came over here. And the next year they went 15-0 and won a state championship, right. And they had one of their better teams. But this year their quarterback was Coach Tucker's son. He was a left-handed quarterback. He's a very, very good player. But he was a junior. It wasn't Lance, it was the other one.
Okay.
And so he's a lefty. He was a junior. They had a pretty good team. And when I say we beat their brains in, I mean we beat them like the high 30s to nothing.
Yeah.
And he said, Coach Tucker got us back on that bus that night, and he looked at us. He said, boys, I'm sorry. He said, we will never. I can promise you, as long as I'm here, we will never play them again. Because, and it was true. It was like it was raining, and it was a bludgeon.
I remember it.
And so when Coach Grider says that, you know, those of us that grew up around here, right. Again, we may not have won them all.
Yeah.
But you did have the mentality that they're going to hate this. For the next 2.5 hours, hate is going to be in their mind at the amount of
nothing fun about
things that are going to go on out here on this field. And, you know, bringing that mentality here, and it's been here. I'm not knocking any coaches that have been around since, but that is something that I think a lot of us pride ourselves in.
No doubt.
And it made my day when he told me that story.
I bet it did. It did. Yeah, absolutely. And no doubt about it. Up against another break. Stay tuned. More Saturday Sports Countdown right after this.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area a team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
You already know the power and reliability of a Mahindra tractor. Get ready to meet their ATV and UTV lines. Haul more and tow more. Do more. Reaching speeds up to 60 miles an hour. Models have a 12-inch ground clearance and the ability to haul up to 1,200 pounds. There's a Mahindra utility vehicle and a model specifically to get the job done. Test drive today at Lake Martin Tractor and Outdoor. Serving Tallapoosa, Coosa, Clay, and Talladega counties. 256-392-3613.
Hi, I'm Scott Blake.
I'm Angie Richardson, and we are the loan team here at Movement Mortgage.
Whether you're a first-time home buyer or you've gone through the process before,
our mission is to help you move forward with the purchase of your future plans. Call me at 256-397-2771.
or call me at 256-794-1003.
Scott Blake, NMLS number 527945. Angie Richardson, NMLS number 216556. Movement Mortgage supports equal housing opportunity, NMLS number 39179. For licensing information, please visit NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
Hey guys, this is Nate Pass with Airport Motors.
I'm Connor Branch with Fairway Auto Brokers in Opelika, Alabama.
And this is your first ever Lake Martin Summer Car Blitz.
That's right, Lake Martin. Airport Motors and Fairway Auto Brokers is teaming up for the very first Lake Martin Summer Car Blitz. Make sure to check out either website for the very best selection of pre-owned luxury trucks, SUVs, and sedans in East Alabama. Get pre-approved in minutes online and make sure to use the keyword Summer Blitz in the comments section for $500 off internet price. That's keyword Summer Blitz.
Castelluccio Fine Italian Dining in downtown Alexander City is rapidly becoming the region standard for Italian cuisine, as well as hand-cut filet mignon, fresh Gulf seafood, and the area's best Italian import wine selection. We offer true old-world charm with unmatched hospitality. Like Castelluccio Fine Dining on Facebook to keep up with daily lunch and dinner specials. Also new, we offer catering for your family and small business, so call and order. Castelluccio, downtown Alexander City, where the only thing that rivals the flavor is the dining experience.
You've dreamed about the perfect house, a place to call your own, and a place to not only stretch out, but to grow. Auto Owners protects your house because to you, it's home. That's simple human sense. Happy to help, man. I was just over there talking to myself anyway.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. If you'd like to discuss anything with us, call us 256-234-6221. I know we get a bunch of text messages throughout the show. We appreciate that. We get comments on Facebook Live. You can comment there for everybody to see those, and we can share them with everybody. Just some other notes that we were just talking about Bruce Pearl, talking about scheduling from high school teams that you normally wouldn't play. Auburn has jumped out there with Southern Cal and has scheduled a home and home starting this coming year, or starting this year. We'll go to Southern Cal and play in December, and then they'll return the favor in December of 23 and come to Neville Arena. So here you go. I mean, this is a guy that's constantly trying to expand and reach out, and I think it'd be cool to get a Gonzaga to come to your place, and then you go to Gonzaga. I know Alabama played Gonzaga in a tournament up in Seattle and beat them this past year. Those are fun games, man, especially in the early part of the season before you get into the conference schedule. Get you a couple of games against some really, really good opponents, tournament teams like that, and that's just – he knows that it's not really about the win or the loss in that game. It's about the exposure.
Well, and that's two programs that are on the up. Southern Cal gets it too, right, and understands that Southern Cal's probably got to extend their footprint as well and be able to come to the South and get some players. And, back to football with Southern Cal, it's still very odd that they can't get a grip on that, because that is the one program. It's the sleeping giant sitting out there on the West Coast that you go, my gosh, the right coach has to be able to sell that to recruits.
Right.
I mean, what's not sellable? I mean, tradition's there, rich history, championships, great players,
well,
Heisman
I think
winners.
Pac-12 football has suffered tremendously, and West Coast football in general. Luke and I talked about this Tuesday night, because Southern Cal hadn't been relevant. Seriously.
Very much hurts, because it is the one sleeping giant that's sitting out there. When you talk about teams from Alabama going to the West Coast and vice versa, you always hear back. I'm a history buff, so right. I like looking at the rivalry that Alabama and USC had back in the day in football. Alabama brings them in. Bear Bryant knows, or he may not know it completely, but Cunningham goes off against them. Alabama has no black players at the time. Bear Bryant knows that he needs to open up the color barrier there. USC beats their brains
right.
in, I think, at Legion Field over in Birmingham. Mm-hmm. And then they go out the next year and don't unveil the wishbone until they show up on the field. And Johnny Musso and crew take the ball down the field and able to win the football game against a number one ranked USC team on the West Coast. So you've got storylines like that. My
right.
point is, back then, those two programs were on the cutting edge of college football. I actually think right now that these two programs are on the cutting edge of college basketball. It's crazy to say, but I do think that Auburn is there.
Well, they are. And, go back to when you think of teams in the, all the way back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, those teams, when you brought up college football, who did you name? You named Notre Dame, Alabama, USC, Michigan. You named those type teams, and those were your
Ohio State, Tennessee.
Right? Yeah. I mean, you named those programs, and they were the perennial powers. And really, since Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart and those guys, USC has, and it hurt when Pete Carroll left. And the way he left and all, it damaged their program. Let's just be honest. It just shows you how fast you can fall. Tennessee has shown that. Tennessee has not been able to get up off the mat really since 1999.
Boy, they're efforting now, though.
They are. And
tip your hat to
my Lord, look how much time has gone by. Yes. A quarter of a century has gone by, and they've been mediocre at best.
You never want that to happen.
That's what when Auburn's fear is.
That is when you get on about a 5 or 6 year span where you're mediocre. You go, gosh, and it's crazy because you and I
become the norm.
You and I grew up in the 80s and the 90s. So the thought that I would be sitting here in 2022 saying Tennessee's been irrelevant for 20 plus years, is not something I'd ever thought of.
No.
So now it's a term. You know, it's like Clemsoning. Well, they don't Clemsoning anymore.
That's right.
They've won a few championships, and that's over. And Tennessee now has become the mantra of a lot of schools that are on a slide. You can't sit back and wait and let yourself become Tennessee.
Well, and we had some good comments on Facebook yesterday during the Auburn Blitz, and I believe Ed's the one that said it, and because people kept saying, well, Auburn's got to prove on the field this year. They got to do this, and I know it's a unique situation with all the stuff that happened in the all season with Brian Harsin. But he said, why is Auburn the only school that's got to go out and prove to get recruits? He said Texas A&M ain't ever been any better than 8-5, 7-6, 9-3. He said that's who Texas A&M is. He said they just landed the #1 recruiting class coming off 8-5 season. He said, why is Auburn got to be the only team that's got to go out and prove to recruit? And he brings up a good point. We get caught up in saying, this, that, and the other, but Auburn perennially is a top 15, top 20 program in the country. They ought not have problems getting players to come play. The only difference right now is I think the stuff that went on in the offseason cut the legs out of Brian Harsin, who was already struggling anyway to get his feet on the ground. Now you just magnified the problem.
Well, I don't know how good a recruiter is, period.
That's my point. He was already struggling. Now you've made it even more difficult on a guy that was struggling by doing what you did to him.
So I will defend Texas A&M and Jimbo Fisher with this. I'm no Jimbo Fisher fan. I think he's a crybaby. I dislike him. I wouldn't want him as our coach. I'll throw that out there. The guy can flat recruit. And it's not just NIL. The guy recruited to Florida State, Brett. Big time. Go back and look at their recruiting rankings at Florida State, and now look at their recruiting rankings now post-Jimbo Fisher. He left that program in a terrible shape. I'm not defending Jimbo Fisher, but I am saying the guy can recruit.
No,
he's always been able to recruit, and he's been able to sell. And it's not just the NIL. And he'll do whatever the dirty work is behind the scenes to get them there.
And then get in front of the mic and say he doesn't do anything.
Well, but at a certain point, though, no matter what he says in front of the mic, you just need the Bows and the Joes.
There's no doubt.
Go do what it takes. I'm not saying openly cheat, but if others – I said this about Bruce Pearl, and I know we're up against the break, but if Auburn's going to get slapped on the wrist, and this has been 6-7 years ago when we were worried about whether Bruce Pearl was going to be able to keep his job, if we're going to now get on to Auburn because they're actually trying – after we made one excuse after another on why we couldn't go out there and get top recruits, and now we're going to get upset with Bruce Pearl because he's upset the Blue Bloods out there by recruiting against them. Are we kidding ourselves? Well, a little bit of the same for Jimbo Fisher now, too, at Texas A&M.
Right. I mean, just don't get up there and lie. Just don't talk. Just don't say that. I mean, we already know. It's kind of like when the FBI – and then I've heard this before. The FBI comes and asks you a question. They already know the answer. So you better not lie. Because it's not like they're asking you for the answer. They already know it. They just want to hear what you're going to say. That's going to determine how things go down. Well, Jimbo, we know that you got 7 5-stars. And we know how it all works. So don't get up there and tell us that you ain't paid for anybody and you did it the right way. I don't know what the right way is anymore, so that could be
to pay for them.
Well, I'm just saying
that is the right way.
Well, it is, but nobody knows what anything is anymore because supposedly there's some rules about how you pay for them.
Come on,
that's a joke.
There's no way, and that's so gray right now in the first couple of years of this thing.
It's gray ain't even the word. Up against another break. Stay tuned. More Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown right after this.
Whether it's Lake Martin, Lay Lake, or Logan Martin, boaters from all over the state of Alabama come to Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama, because it's worth the drive. With the best deals on unbeatable Suzuki outboards, Manitou and Landau Tritoons, and a great pre-owned inventory while they last. Alex City Marine is the pros the locals know. And no matter where you're from, when you're here, you're local to us. Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama. AlexCityMarine.com.
WOTM is the television provider for all Alabama High School Athletic Association championship events and special programs. WOTM is your home for the Super 7 football, state finals basketball, baseball and softball state championships, the AHSAA Weekly Show, and WOTM also produced the first ever football playoff show, Super 7 Preview Show, and Reclassification Reveal Show. Your exclusive home for all things AHSAA is WOTM. Contact your local cable provider to request WOTM to your channel lineup.
You don't have to ask who, what, or why. Who's Diner is the go-to place for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Conveniently located at the corner of Highway 22 and 280 in Alex City, Who's Diner offers the best meals and the best deals in town. Try our fresh, made-from-scratch pancakes, chicken salad, Philly cheesesteak, or the Who Burger. It doesn't get any better than who? Who's Diner, of course, on the corner of Highway 22 and 280. Who's hungry?
Fast, fresh, and friendly. That's the Allen Brew Market mission to our customers on the go. Allen Brew Markets of Talladega County fuel your vehicle and you with the best coffee, drinks, snacks, and food, so you can get your day on the fast track. Allen Brew Markets are always convenient with Sylacauga locations on Main Avenue, Highway 280, and Old Birmingham Highway. Allen Brew Markets has everything for the family on the go, and we're always brewing up great specials. Fast, fresh, and friendly, our guarantee to you.
The same professionals you've trusted with your urgent care is now your primary health provider, Main Street Family Care. We provide annual physical exams as well as monitoring health conditions such as high blood pressure, diabetes, asthma, and more. All major insurances accepted, Medicaid, Medicare, and have self-pay options to accommodate everyone. See us in Alex City, just across from Walmart. Your care is our primary concern.
Main Street Family Urgent Care. Heal better, feel better fast.
Why is Sarah Automotive Group on Highway 280 in Sylacauga the place for the best deals on your new ride? 3 compelling reasons. 1. With 3 full new car dealers on one line, you get the best comparison and incentives on Fords, Hondas, and Nissans. Unmatched selection. 2. Sarah pays over market value for your trade to maintain East Central Alabama's best pre-owned vehicle selection and sales. And 3. The Sarah Automotive price won't be beat and delivers lower payments and huge value on your next buy. Shop online or on Highway 280 in Sylacauga.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. Very short segment here as we head into hour number 2. Give us a call, 256-234-6221 to be part of the program. You can comment away on Facebook Live. A lot of different ways.
Let's stick with high school football just a second because you had a phone call asking about Patrick Browning. And he does move from Pike Road down to Greenville High School.
Another good program.
Another great program that's been knocking on the door for a long, long time. And Pike Road has been a built program that's a known commodity here in the state of Alabama now, I would say. So,
well, they beat that Pleasant Grove team last year in the state championship pretty handily. And we know how good Pleasant Grove's been. And you know, a lot of the guys on that Pike Road team were young guys. They'll be back. I believe that running back was a freshman, by the way. Unbelievable. So, you know, the future's bright for them. They get the coach from Eufaula to come over now as the head football coach there. So I haven't heard that Eufaula's hired a coach yet. I don't know that.
Good landing spot for somebody.
Very good landing spot. But, again, the situation they're sitting in right here in June, same was Benjamin Russell.
It's terrible timing.
It's tough to find. But when you do that and you have coaches move around in May, spring football, either if it's before or after spring practice, there is a very, very minute window of time to get some things in place.
And it's a tough sell. It's the reason I'm thankful for our search committee that you and I weren't involved with. Our athletic director, Richie Brooks, and our principal, Shannon Benefield, and a great job from a leadership standpoint for them to go out and get some really good applicants in here.
Right.
Now, not all applicants, when it comes down to it, are probably going to be able to say, yeah, I'm willing to go do that. I'm willing to leave this program right here as the summer starts, a couple of months from the season, with these kids that I've been working out with and training and getting prepared for, and 7-on-7s coming up in the next couple of weeks, and just up and leave them right now. That's a tough sell. So for them to get somebody like Smitty Grider here at Ellick City is just great timing. But doesn't mean you're going to win all the other coaches that may have potentially been an option out there as well. And I totally appreciate the ones that don't move right now.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I think there's some, maybe a lot, that once they get past a certain time frame in a year, they go, okay, I'm bought in for another year here.
Sure.
You know, so
and I can appreciate that.
And I know opportunities don't always come up in January. Every job doesn't open up in January. If you had, if you wanted to say a good time to make a coaching change, what would it be? It would probably be January, coming back from you just finished the football season, you're going into the next semester of the year. That would be the utopian time to make a move, but there is no perfect time. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, go ahead. Hey, caller, you with us?
Hey, guys, it's Luke. How's it going?
Hey, Luke, you just a little bit early. We're going to go ahead and take a break, and then we'll come back and we'll get with you here in the first segment of the second hour. So just hang with us. We'll take that break. Stay tuned. More of the Saturday Sports Countdown right after this.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area a team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
WOTM is the television provider for all Alabama High School Athletic Association championship events and special programs. WOTM is your home for the Super 7 football, state finals basketball, baseball and softball state championships, the AHSAA weekly show, and WOTM also produced the first ever football playoff show, Super 7 preview show, and reclassification reveal show. Your exclusive home for all things AHSAA is WOTM. Contact your local cable provider to request WOTM to your channel lineup.
I'm Jimmy Goree with Goree's Furniture. We would like to invite you to come shop our huge selection of furniture. But if you don't have time, we have over 2,000 items you can have shipped directly to your home. Go to GoreesFurniture.com, look for 48-hour quick ship. Shop, click, ship, it's just that easy. You can shop us here, or you can shop us online, only at Goree's Furniture.
Your expressway to saving.
If you haven't been to Big B Barbecue in Alex City, then you're missing the best barbecue around. Big B has everything from the best pulled or chopped pork, chicken, and beef to cheeseburgers and grilled chicken salads. Bring your friends and family out for a great dinner and sit outside on our beautiful patio, or sit inside and enjoy your meal by the fireplace. So come in and join us and enjoy the best barbecue in the area only at Big B Barbecue, located on Highway 22 West in Alex City.
You want the best opportunity to be successful in life. You deserve that opportunity. Well, you just happens to be in our motto, central to you, central to your success. Your future is right now. Don't wait. Make your dreams a reality by enrolling at Central Alabama Community College. Register today at cacc.edu.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. Welcome in Luke Robinson on the phone with us now. Luke, somewhere on the road, traveling all around. Don't know where he's going to land. Don't know where he's going to end up. So headed to Nash Vegas this morning, right?
Yeah, but I'll be turning right around. I'm just dropping a couple of kids off and then turning right around and coming back. Going to hopefully go to a Garth Brooks concert tonight.
I can smell the excitement through the phone. I hope you're not giving a promo for that. They're not going to hire you to give the promos for those concerts. Like, y'all come on out. We're going to have a great time tonight.
Can't wait. Oh, I swear, really, Brett, this is true. The only thing I'm thinking about is, how am I supposed to get home? Because they're expecting like 60,000 people, and Protective has never had anywhere near that many people there. And I already know the parking issues, the lack of Uber and Lyft drivers, and all this stuff that's going to be happening.
You need a helicopter.
And yeah, I'm going to need a teleporter or something. I'm going to need a transfer portal.
Well, everything is going to be put to a test that hasn't been tested yet for this new facility with this concert. Now, and by the way, this is the only concert on the tour where they don't play 2 dates in the same city. Every concert that I saw on the schedule has a Friday date and a Saturday date. This is the only one he's playing a Saturday date only, so it's going to make it even more chaotic. But you're right. But, hey, look, you know what you're walking into, so I guess kind of get in a zone mentally and just get in there and try to soak it in and call Baton Rouge or let the thunder roll or whatever you want to do, brother.
Yeah, I'm going to get in the zone mentally, but about 9:30, I'm going to want to get in the bed physically. So that's going to be my problem.
Well, the concert, unfortunately, probably won't be getting really going good until about 9:30, so you better bring a sleeping bag and just zip yourself up.
I'm afraid we really ain't going home till the sun comes up.
Luke, I haven't talked to you about it, but I felt like Alabama deserved an invitation to the regional the way that they closed out the season. I do think it's important in baseball how you're playing in the closing stretch. You saw Auburn send a guy out there yesterday that had missed a lot of the season and goes out and swings a hot bat and hits 3 home runs, 2 from opposite sides of the plate in the first inning. You can get a hot bat and a hot pitcher and really get things going, and I felt like Alabama had that kind of going in their favor, but didn't get over the hump in getting into the regional.
Yeah, I thought it was I didn't like it, obviously. I'm always pulling for Alabama to get in. I understood it. I'm not mad in the sense that I feel like it's hard for me to legitimately say, okay, Alabama deserved to be there. It's hard for me to say that when you know my stance is I like for the best teams to play for championships. I don't like it when a team that's just sort of middled around all year and gets hot at the end gets in. But given the parameters we use to select NCAA teams in baseball, I thought Alabama should have been in, especially when you let Ole Miss in, which made no sense to me. Alabama swept them in Oxford. Alabama had pretty close to the same record as they did in the SEC, and Alabama won 2 pretty large games in the SEC tournament, and they were one of the very few teams in the country that were able to beat Tennessee, and they did that in Knoxville. Ole Miss did none of that, and I just wonder, you know, what exactly were we thinking here? Now, again, I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I'm going to say that I understand when it comes to the NCAA tournament, if it's down to Alabama and Kentucky, and all things remaining equal, Kentucky's going to get the bid. But when it's the college football playoff and it's down to Alabama and Kentucky, Alabama's going to get the bid. So I understand that. If Alabama were up against, say, a more traditional NCAA power like LSU, and LSU had gotten in with the same resume as Ole Miss, and Alabama's record was the same as it is now, I would say, okay, I kind of get that. But I don't know what Ole Miss has done to deserve the benefit of the doubt. That's what bothered me. But again, when you let 64 teams in, it's really hard to complain about who the number 65 team is. That's always my take in the NCAA basketball tournament as well. I think when you get to that many teams, you're sort of just throwing darts anyway. And so, yeah, I would have much preferred they'd be in. But, you know, I think the lesson learned is try not to lose some of these midweek games to UAB and Jacksonville State and whoever else they lost to. I mean, they lost some really bad games midweek. And if they had just won, say, 2 of those, I bet you Alabama's in kind of comfortable.
Luke, let's reverse over, talk a little football. Nick Saban, Jimbo, the whole crew, and a bit of a tiff last week. This week going down to the beach and, you know, getting in a room and I'm guessing kind of ironing some of these things out. I would like to know your thoughts on the state of mind of Nick Saban right now with the NIL and recruiting and all that's going on. Felt like he had a little bit more of a smile and backpedaled a bit this week, but your thoughts of Nick Saban right now?
Yeah, I think people are jumping on the backpedal train a little bit too much. Nick Saban basically said, look, I didn't say anybody did anything wrong, and he didn't. And yeah, it's a little bit of semantics, but at the same time, that's exactly what he was getting at. I really believe this, and this is from talks and from people that would know, that I believe Nick Saban tried to go through the proper channels as often as he could to get people to understand, hey, look, some people are using this to flat out buy players right now, and that's not what we're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to do it this way, okay? And that's the way Alabama understands it. You're supposed to do it where you get money when you get on campus and you can use your name, image, and likeness when you have signed your paperwork and you're on campus. Some people are saying, we guarantee you this much if you sign, we guarantee, or commit, we guarantee you this much if you sign. And Nick Saban was saying that's not what the intent of this is. This is not what it's supposed to be. But if you want it to be this way, we can do that too. The problem is there are very few places that can do that. And that's what Saban was trying to say, and he was trying to go through the proper channels. I really believe that initially. And when nobody did anything about it, I think he went public with it. And yes, it was it sort of got people's ire up, and some people thought he was being a hypocrite. And I think he knew all that going in. I think he knew the backlash that some people would have.
Well, let's shift gears and talk about somebody else that's not in the conference that came out and made a comment, Ryan Day, with Ohio State, saying that he needs around $13 million a year to sustain his roster as is. I think this is what everybody's talking about, Luke. And I was on Gary Harris's show yesterday with him, and Gary said everybody at the top saying this was a plea by Ryan Day to say, look, this isn't going to work, okay? We're a big university. We can probably handle it if we needed to, but 98% of everybody else isn't going to. So we've arrived at the problem we all knew was coming.
Brett, that's what I've been saying all along. That Ohio State's not going to have a problem with this. I mean, he says that because Ryan Day is a lot like being like Nick Saban here. Ryan Day is Ohio State first. Nick Saban is Alabama first. Don't get it twisted. But at the same time, Nick Saban and Ryan Day both know what's the point of being the ruler of a kingdom that doesn't have any people in it. I mean, what's the point of being the best? If Ohio State is so far and away above everybody else in the Big Ten that nobody else can compete, it doesn't make it a sellable product. So if they're Godzilla and everybody else is baby kittens, nobody wants to watch Godzilla step on baby kittens every single weekend. We can laugh and say we kind of have that now, but we really don't. I mean, every now and again, Ohio State will get trucked by Purdue right now. Every now and again, they'll get trucked by Purdue, or they'll lose to Michigan State, or they'll do something like that. So there is at least a semblance of parity right now. But if this were to keep going, it's not going to happen. I mean, you're going to have a lot of schools that just cannot keep up, and you're going to see it more and more and more. And I mean, I'm looking at all you got to do, Brett, is look at where the top high school athletes are going. Now, again, I understand Alabama and Ohio State and Clemson and Georgia have sort of dominated that to begin with, but there was always a smattering of some LSU and some Texas and some whatever. Now, even in that, George Karlaftis, I can't remember his name, but the high draft pick was a 5-star guy that went to Purdue. None of these guys are going to be going to Purdue and Mississippi State or Ole Miss. I mean, they're not going to be doing that if they can't pay the money. It's all about the money you pay.
It's a crazy time, Luke, and I know we're up against a break, but I did want to ask that question there. I mean, from a recruiting standpoint, Alabama hasn't been outside of the top 3 in, since 2008. So for almost, 14 years, Alabama's been right there in the top 3 recruit. Do you see the recruiting even taking a step up from where it is currently to a whole new level for, say, the top 3 to 5 programs here in the country? Because that's where I see it going.
Yeah, and if you want me to stay on another one, I would, because I would like to talk a little basketball for a minute, because I was talking about that. But Yeah, I think that it's still going to be. I mean, again, I looked at the top two. I think it was On3 came out with their new composite rankings the other day, and so I took a look at them. And the first thing I always do is look to see, okay, what's Alabama doing? What's some of Alabama's main competitors doing, and what's Auburn doing? I mean, I always like to keep up with the SEC, some of Alabama's main competition, et cetera. And I felt like Alabama was still doing really well. I don't think this class, I mean, it has potential if all things were to go normal. But I think this class may not be as good as I initially thought it would be for Alabama, but it's a smidge off of what we're normally seeing. I think Alabama could finish number 3 or something. I mean, that's nothing crazy. But I'm looking around and I'm seeing some of our in-state guys going elsewhere. And when Saban went off on his rant a couple of weeks ago, he was referring to an in-state guy. I'm not going to go into any names or anything, but he was referring to an in-state guy. There's no doubt in my mind. And that's a guy that I think most everybody believed was going to Alabama, and I don't think he's going to end up going that way. I think he's going to go out of state. But then I looked at Auburn, and the top guy that's projected to go to Auburn was around the number 150 player in the country. Now, the number 150 player in the country is a great player. He's a 4-star. He's, number 150 out of several thousand is a great place to be. But then there were about 2 other guys in the top 250 that were projected to go to Auburn, and it was sort of 50-50. And my thought was, that's going to be a problem because this will be the second or third year in a row. It's been kind of that way. And, when your roster starts filling up with guys who are way below where everybody else is, everybody can get into this diamond in the rough thing all they want to. But, and they used to love to say that about Tommy Tuberville. But when Tommy Tuberville had his best year, he had a borderline 5-star quarterback. He had a 5-star at running back, a 4-star at running back. He had a 5-star at offensive tackle. He had a 4 or 5-star at cornerback. I mean, he had 4 number 1 draft picks. I mean, that's you win with the best players. You don't win by out-scheming everybody over a year-long process.
Well, and I said this on Auburn Blitz yesterday. There's only one category I'm going to analyze about Brian Harsin moving forward, and it's not even about how they do on the field this year. I'm sacrificing wins on the field this year if you tell me Auburn gets back around the top 10 in recruiting. It's not about what you're doing right now. It's the fact that if Brian Harsin's going to be able to get the caliber of player in here to put Auburn where it needs to be competitive in this conference. Period, end of discussion. I'm not looking at anything else. I'm not looking at him doing a podcast. I'm not looking at him going to a charity golf tournament. I'm not looking at him sitting in the stands rah-rahing and giving Pete's out during the, students waiting to get into a basketball game. I'm fine, whatever. That's good. Can he get 4- and 5-star players to come to Auburn like we've been used to be able to compete at the highest level? That's the only thing I'm looking at. And this is a huge year for Auburn in recruiting, especially because of the amount of good top players in this state. And if when the dust settles and we're at 39 in recruiting, I don't need to hear anything else. I don't need to see him coach another down of football. I don't need to see anything other than he ain't the right guy for this place, period.
No, I think that's absolutely right. Terry keeps calling in the show and saying, if Brian Harsin does this, hopefully everybody will get on board and fire him. But I think you're right. I mean, I think this year can almost be considered a sacrificial lamb. Of course you want to win every game every year. But if you told that, an Auburn fan that knows what they're talking about, a top 10 season or a top 10 year in recruiting, you better say top 10 year in recruiting for the future of the program.
Oh, I said that yesterday. I said, if you told me we'd go 6-6 this year and have a top 10 recruiting class, I'm bought in. Or would I go 9-3 and be 25 or 30? I ain't buying. I'd sacrifice 2 or 3 wins to know that we're back getting where we need to be in the long term. It's not all about what's right in front of your nose in sports all the time. I know we do want to win. If we beat Alabama this year, awesome. If you beat Georgia, awesome. But what's my priority as an Auburn fan, longevity-wise, it's getting the top players in here. Luke, let's shift over. I know you want to talk a little bit about basketball. we'll just keep it right here, go an extended segment, and we'll make up the break since we got you on. So I'll kick it back over to you, let you talk a little basketball.
Yeah, well, before I get into that, I did want to say this. You mentioned the podcaster, Brian Harrison, and I'm one of the ones that's, I mean, I know a lot of people seem to like that, and the podcast was apparently number one in terms of listen to college football podcasts this last week or whatever. But my argument would be, hey, what is the point of having your head coach go on a podcast with your offensive coordinator when all they're going to do is pat each other on the back, congratulate each other, tell each other how hard they're working, tell each other how hard these players are working, and give you absolutely no information of any consequence on an inside level when that is a whole, call it only an hour, call it 30 minutes, call it 2 hours, whatever. That's an hour, 2 hours, 30 minutes that you could be spending calling recruits. Because I can guarantee you that it doesn't matter how good your podcast is if you don't go out there and call a recruit and tell him how much you need him. That's my argument about that, and that makes me feel like he still doesn't get it in a sense. But going back to basketball, one thing you mentioned earlier, you mentioned Alabama played Gonzaga in a tournament. They actually played them in a one-off in a home and home, and it's going to be in Birmingham next year. And Gonzaga is just announced Drew Timme will be returning, so that's going to be interesting. Alabama and Gonzaga will play in Birmingham. Alabama will also welcome Memphis into Coleman Coliseum, and they're going to travel to Houston to play the return game for the Houston Cougars. And Alabama's also playing in a tournament in Portland that has Michigan State, Oregon, North Carolina. I mean, it's a ridiculous lineup. And I looked at early top 25, and I noticed that Alabama plays 5 of the top projected 6 teams in this particular person's top 25. And, so they're still loading up schedule-wise. And Alabama did just get a commitment from a kid named Sam Walters out of Florida that is sort of a white Herb Jones. I mean, he's 6'8", he's lanky, he's a lefty, he's a good shooter, great defender. He really likes this system, and I think it's a good fit for Alabama, top 100 guy in the country. So I think things are going to keep rolling there. And but I love looking towards basketball schedules that I can be proud of, and because for years I know Alabama was, the best game we'd play would be some, Oregon State or some stinker team like that. And frankly, I'd much rather play the North Carolinas and Memphises and Houstons and Gonzagas of the world and take my lumps and be ready for tournament time.
Yeah, no doubt. I think that's where we're going with it. Randy and I talked about it earlier with USC and Auburn scheduling the home and home. I think that's a lot of fun for your program. And again, at the end of the day, it's about exposure and marketing and players saying, I want to be part of that. I want to be part of a game like that. And that just brings more attention all the way around to all your other programs as well. So, but yeah, that's a lot of fun. I mean, basketball in this state is crazy right now. It's not even the same sport as it was just 7-8 years ago.
Yeah, it's made a huge leap and a big difference. And look, it gives you some hope for football because basketball recruiting is about as stinky as it can be. And if we can still put our arms around it, then why couldn't we do the same thing with football? I guess it's
the volume of players.
We're just trying to get used to it again.
Yeah, it's the sheer volume of players. I think in basketball, it's 2 or 3 a year for a lot of schools, and sometimes it can be more now with the transfer portal. But it's the sheer volume of players in football. How many are in the portal right now? I don't have that number in front of me, but it's ungodly amount. And then trying to manage that, and then you throw the NIL. I mean, you got some teams. I think Lane Kiffin, Ole Miss, bringing 16 or 17 in from the portal this year. That's a total reworking of a roster, basically. With that, that's almost an entire class.
Yeah, it's it's going to be hard for us to ever have love for a team like we had for some of those. You talked about the Auburn teams in the 80s, Alabama teams in the 90s where you can still rattle off all the starters. Shoot, I mean, it's going to change year to year so much now that it's going to be difficult to remember who even was a part of which team sometimes.
You're exactly right. You're no doubt about it. Well, Luke, we appreciate you hanging through 2 segments with us. Have a fun weekend, and let the thunder roll tonight, brother.
All right, buddy. See ya.
See ya. Luke going to Guard Brooks. I think he'd rather walk through a briar patch. There's no cut against Guard Brooks. We all love Guard Brooks. It's just the setting. It is going to be crazy up there. A lot of people heading up to Protective Life Stadium for that concert. Up against the break. Stay tuned. More Saturday Sports Countdown right after this.
A&M Plumbing, A&M Plumbing, service at its best when you need it most.
From the smallest drippy faucet to drain cleaning to water heater replacement to gas lines to total systems replacement, A&M Plumbing handles it all. Visit amplumbing.net today for the experienced, licensed, and insured pros at A&M Plumbing.
A&M Plumbing, A&M Plumbing, service at its best when you need it most.
They say we live in an age of big data, where computers and fancy algorithms are supposed to know you best. But at Country Financial, we know helping you own your future requires, well, something much bigger. Contact your local Country Financial representative and start planning for your future with a personal touch.
Okay, somebody's not wearing their seatbelt.
I don't wear seat belts. Might wrinkle my shirt.
That's okay. I'm sure they can iron it before the funeral.
What funeral?
Yours. Almost 70% of people who die in car crashes aren't wearing a seatbelt.
Okay. There. You happy?
Just happy to be alive.
Seatbelts. It's hard to live without them. Drive safe, Alabama. A message from your Alabama Department of Transportation.
Life is a sequence of little successes. The story of my Southern Union success began the day I walked on campus, making new friends, mastering a new skill, reaching a personal goal. The encore performance, the first date, the internship, and now, soon, the dream job. That's the story of my Southern Union success. Register for classes and get ready to watch your Southern Union story come to life.
It's time to crank for bank. April 1st through July 4th, you'll be fishing Lake Martin for a chance to win big. With a $100 registration, you'll be fishing for $1 million from Big Fish Real Estate Group and Point Broadband, a 2022 Bass Cap Bass Boat from Russell Marine, 2022 Skeeter Bass Boat from Ashley Outdoors, a 2022 Chevy truck from Lake Martin Cabinetry and Allen Embry Premier Chevrolet, or catch a $1,500 tagged fish. Brought to you in part by Dunning Roofing, Lake Martin Tourism, Mortgage Pro, Fishing Chaos, and Lake Broadcasting. Visit Crank, the number 4 bank.com for details.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. Just to kind of go back over real quick, the recruiting class here in the state of Alabama for football is extremely loaded. Right now, you're sitting there with the top 6 guys in the state at 5 stars. James Smith from Carver is the number 1 player in the state according to 24/7. He has not made a commitment to anybody. Number 2 player, Tony Mitchell from Thompson High School, is a 5-star cornerback. He is also not committed to anybody. Number 3 player, Jaleel Hurley.
But they're both leaning. Are both of those players leaning to Alabama? Or
James Smith not leaning to anybody.
Okay.
Tony Mitchell is shown to be leaning toward Alabama right now. Jaleel Hurley is committed to Alabama, but there's been a lot of talk of him maybe pulling back that commitment back and just reopening his whole recruiting. Peter Woods from Thompson High School is a strong commitment to Alabama. I don't think there's any wavering there. A.J. Harris from Phoenix City is leaning toward Florida. It's Florida and Clemson. So I know Luke just talked about there's several guys here in the state in this top group that may not even end up going to Alabama or Auburn. A.J. Harris, top cornerback, he's also a 5-star along with Jaquavius Russaw from Carver, who is an edge rusher, 5-star. He is not leaning toward anybody right now. Chris Vazina, number 7 in the top 10, is a 4-star quarterback from Briarwood that you and I will see up close this year on the schedule for Benjamin Russell. He chose Clemson over Auburn and a couple other schools, and I think Auburn missed a very, very good opportunity. Guy that had been high on Auburn his whole time. I think he took the safe route. When you look at it, Dabo Swinney and what he's done and what he's proven and all that, when all's equal, you're going to go with the safest route, and I think that's what he did, and Auburn lost a good opportunity there. Kelby Collins from Gardendale is the number 8 player, defensive lineman here in the state, 6'5", 280. He's a 4-star, not favoring anybody at the moment. Tamarian Parker, a kid I really like from Phoenix City on the defensive front, 6'4", 255 pounds, is 100% committed to Georgia, according to 24/7. And then number 10 players from Highland Home. We saw Highland Home late in the season last year as far as monitoring and following these programs. And Jason Caldwell coming on, I remember him saying, man, you better watch out for Highland Home. And I think they ended up going
to the semis, I believe.
To the 4th round. One of the reasons, Keldrick Falk, 6'5", 240-pound defensive lineman. They had several prospects on that Highland Home team down there. So that's your top 10. Out of your top 10 right now, you got about half that's not committed, and then you've got a couple that are out of state in Georgia and Clemson and Florida, and then you got 2 that are committed to Alabama, and then the rest really just kind of wide open.
And several leans to Alabama as well that aren't committed. So out of the top 10, Alabama looks like they've got a chance at 4 or 5 of those. The rest out of state. And the issue that you see there with Auburn, it's not that we don't end up with 1 or 2 of them. It's right now we're not listed as a favorite for any of them. And that's the problem all the way down the line.
I don't understand this. The Stanton Ramel kid from Thompson High School is 100% committed to Auburn. Maybe it's 100% lean. He's not committed yet. That's what it is. I was going back and looking at the team rankings. Auburn's only got 2 commitments for 2023. Alabama's got 4 right now. So Stanton Rimmel is 100% lean, according to 24/7, along with Jeremiah Cobb from Catholic in Montgomery is potentially 100% lean. Sylvester Smith, the 17th player from Munford, a highly ranked player, a 4-star, committed to Tennessee. I bring him up because that's another kid there that's here in this top 20 that possibly be going somewhere out of state.
State Alabama could have upwards of 30 players here in the state that are 4- and 5-star.
Right.
You may ask.
The top 20 are for sure 4 and 5.
Well, you may ask what's that in comparison to in previous years. It's probably not quite double, but it's close to double the amount of 4- and 5-star athletes that the state has this year. It's one of the top classes I can remember, probably back to that 2008 class that Nick Saban closed with Julio Jones and that crew.
Well, just here's an example. Braden Joyner, the 21st player, committed to Auburn from Auburn High School, offensive lineman. Then you go 22nd player, Dallas Young at Gardendale, is a lean to Arkansas. Raquez McElderry from Anniston, 3-star, is a heavy lean to Georgia right now. Then Vincent Lang from Pike Road, number 25 player, is 100% lean to Arkansas. I mean, this is an issue, man. This isn't just Alabama and Auburn just going through there and saying, okay, y'all live in the state of Alabama. But Sam Pittman, Kirby Smart, Billy Napier, all of these guys are a problem. And, it's more of a problem for Auburn than it is Alabama.
A lot more of a problem for Auburn than it is Alabama. It may not mean that it may cost Alabama a number 1 ranked class by losing a few of them that they don't want to lose.
And Heupel, too.
Yeah, but for the most part, it's a major flaw of Auburn right now, not shoring up the state borders here in the state of Alabama, because it is a year where you could go out and get 6 to 8 guys here in this state, and we may end up with that. I'm not saying
we don't know
when
the dust settles. That's right.
But right now, signs aren't pointing to a tremendous recruiting
When I'm
class.
sitting here looking at these And it's the ones you should be worried about. It's Sam Pittman making waves. It's Kirby Smart doing what Kirby Smart does. It's Josh Heupel right now coming in and being in the mix for 2 or 3 guys in the top 20 of this class. So these 4-star guys, and then you even got Lane Kiffin with a potential get from the kid from Northridge in Tuscaloosa, the Wilkin Formby kid, offensive tackle, supposedly 100% lean to Ole Miss. That's what you're dealing with, man. This is not the borders are closed. It just used to be Auburn and Alabama going to Mississippi and getting who they wanted. Now you got Lane Kiffin. You got superb coaches and recruiters that are out there swarming around. You just added Billy Napier to the mix. You just added Brian Kelly to the mix down there at LSU. Josh Heupel has increased his deal. Sam Pittman's got Arkansas on the rise. You got a tough landscape out there if you're Auburn and pretty much everybody now. Nothing's guaranteed. Up against another break. Stay tuned. More of the Saturday Sports Countdown right after this.
Whether it's Lake Martin, Lay Lake, or Logan Martin, boaters from all over the state of Alabama come to Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama, because it's worth the drive. With the best deals on unbeatable Suzuki outboards, Manitou and Landau Tritoons, and a great pre-owned inventory while they last. Alex City Marine is the pros the locals know. And no matter where you're from, when you're here, you're local to us. Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama. AlexCityMarine.com.
Sign Source is your local vendor for commercial and residential sign manufacturing and installation. We offer all kinds of lighted and non-lighted signage, from retail signs, LED message centers, event banners, vehicle wraps, the whole spectrum. We also offer service and repair on existing signs, as well as retrofitting to LED or installation of outsourced signage. We have the knowledge necessary to fulfill all of your signage needs in the short or long term. Visit signsourcenow.com to get started.
Heritage South Credit Union in Alexander City is your community credit union, and they have been for over 80 years. Heritage South Credit Union proudly serves Tallapoosa, Coosa, Lee, Chambers, Randolph, and Chilton counties. From checking to business accounts, to share savings to club accounts, to their kids club and investments. Visit them online at myhscu.com. Heritage South Credit Union, your community credit union for 80 years. Federally insured by NCUA.
Now is the best time to sell your current home, as it's a seller's market, meaning that on average you can get up to 96% of your asking price. Who's the most aggressive and most experienced to help you sell your home?
Hi, I'm Rhonda Gaskins, broker, Century 21 Lake Area Realty in the Lake Martin area. We are getting a 96% return on our listing price, the sales price in this area. Call me today and let me go to work for you. 256-749-3644.
LNG Ad Agency is the go-to vendor for all your digital and print marketing needs. We have in-house production for all projects, including graphic design, web design, social media marketing, videography, and print marketing. Our video production is up to industry standard with modern 4K cameras and drone capabilities. We pride ourselves in client-committed relationships, and every project is personalized to your needs. Visit lmgadagency.com for a free quote today. Let us tell your story.
GillsOpelika.info. Get pre-approved in minutes online at GillsOpelika.info for a pre-owned car, truck, or SUV from Gills Auto Sales, 1430 Gateway Drive in Opelika.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR's Sports Bar and Grill. Just a couple segments left in today's show. Again, want to thank everybody for joining us. Let's see, Luke bringing in some comments here on Facebook Live. He was talking about Tony Mitchell, possibly A&M. He thinks Hurley will stay committed, Parker not committed, and doubt he goes to Georgia, talking about the kid that's going to Georgia. So we'll see how it all plays out. It's still early in the mix on a lot of these kids.
But everything's earlier than it was.
You
can go, well, let's wait to February and see how the dust settles. Now, early signing period has totally changed that.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't have 80% of your class closed out with the early signing period, you're in deep trouble because everyone else will. And it's changed. You know, there's no longer that big signing day where the hats are on the table and kids are choosing. It's already happened before then now.
Yeah, as far as when you look at it from a team ranking standpoint in the SEC, Alabama's, again, with 4 commitments at 6. Arkansas is at the top. They've got the most commitments, and then Auburn is at 13 right now out of 14 teams in the
turmoil. No one's willing to take the chance, you know, because we're all sitting here watching, including the recruits and their handlers. They're all watching what's going to go on with Auburn, and a winning season would help. Something from an offensive standpoint that you can rest on and say that that's what we're going to be moving forward under Brian Harsin would help. I don't think we got anywhere near there last year. I never had a sense last year of who we were and what we wanted to be. I kept hearing we wanted to be a downhill running team, tough physical running team. Did you see that last year?
I didn't.
I didn't see it. I thought we went away from the run way too often, more than we didn't, and we always had an excuse, well, we didn't want to overuse Tank. The same way that happened under Gus Malzahn. Well, that sounds good, but it was a struggle to close out the season. It's the reason we closed it as bad as we did.
Arkansas with 11 commitments. Tennessee's the team to watch. 9 commitments, 1 5-star, 3 4-stars, and 5 3-stars. Georgia's at number 3, LSU at 4. LSU only 5 commitments. A&M's got 5 at number 5, and Alabama's got 4 at number 6 in the ranking in the SEC. Barrett Sallee came out and said, and I know Paul Feinbaum had this out, his dark horse to win the SEC this year is Tennessee. He said, and he gave a bunch of reasons. You got Hooker at quarterback. You got just a tremendous job of what Josh Heupel's done of bringing good players in, and there's some momentum around them. And he thinks that maybe some teams over in the East, Georgia's going to be Georgia, but it's right for the pickings for Tennessee to be pushing Georgia right now over in the East. And who else would you pick over there? I mean, Georgia is clearly head and shoulders above everybody, and until somebody knocks them off, they'll still stay there. But who else in the East are you concerned about, or would you give a number 2 nod to right now?
Well, not Florida, but you do have to at least expect Florida to get there soon. And I don't know what type of talent that they have left over.
Not much.
But I think that it's going to be a down year for them. And Kentucky's been a tough out for everyone over there for a while.
Well, Kentucky's been the team kind of, they were undefeated going into that Georgia game and got drummed. So it kind of put them back into the
here's where they really are.
Here's where they really are. But Tennessee's on the move up. And
I agree.
A lot of positive
and
momentum.
It's hard not to watch what's going on with baseball, and that fan base is getting riled up during this baseball run. And maybe they don't win a national championship, but it would be a catastrophe if you're a Tennessee fan and they don't win a national championship as good as they're playing right now, and the season that they've had. And they got a little swagger about them. And we always talk about, success in one sport. It doesn't always mean success in other sports, but a lot of time it does show the fan base and others what could be at some of these programs. And we've all known what could be at Tennessee.
Right.
And maybe the success of baseball is going to – and they've been successful in basketball, just not to the level where baseball is right now.
No doubt about it. Go ahead and take another break. We got to catch up. Stay tuned. More Saturday Sports Countdown right after this.
Brubaker Motors in Montgomery is the largest and fastest growing used car dealership in the River region. You can absolutely get a better buy at Brubaker. It's better at Brubaker.com.
Brubaker, Brubaker.
You can absolutely get a better buy at Brubaker.
BREWBAKER. BREWBAKER.com.
It's better at Brubaker.com.
At C&T Electric, our clients are our priority. For the safety and security of your family and home, our technicians are professionally trained, drug tested, background checked, and wear uniforms with name tags. We're proud to have served the Elk City, Dadeville, and Lake Martin areas for the past 10 years. Give us a call at 256-234-0007 for all your electrical service and repair needs, or visit us on the web at www.cntelectricllc.com and spell out the word "and."
For almost 10 years, there's been the go-to place for tires and automotive repair, Right Tire. Right Tire sells all makes of tires for anyone's vehicle and anyone's budget, and with Right Tire, you always get the right prompt service with the right price. Right Tire also can handle all of your bumper-to-bumper automotive needs with certified brake service, alignment, oil changes, tune-ups, and so much more. So when you want tires and automotive done right, see Right Tire on West Fort Williams in the heart of Sylacauga. Right work, right price, every time.
Life is a sequence of little successes. The story of my Southern Union success began the day I walked on campus, making new friends, mastering a new skill, reaching a personal goal, the encore performance, the first date, the internship, and now, soon, the dream job. That's the story of my Southern Union success. Register for classes and get ready to watch your Southern Union story come to life.
Become a member of the Superior family. Superior GMC Cadillac, Superior Hyundai, or Superior Automotive Pre-Owned. Between our 3 dealers in East Central Alabama, we offer the superior selection and service for any buyer's needs. All with the personal touch of being locally family-owned and operated. Check out any of our dealers online, or our 3 great lots in Anniston on Quintard, or our pre-owned Superstore Pell City, and join the Superior family of value.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown, a quick segment again as we're trying to catch up here. But just a little bit of, it just takes a little chink in the armor sometimes when you have been just kicking everybody's tail. And then here you go into the regional and your starting catcher, who's a big part of this Tennessee lineup, Evan Russell, not available. Tony Vitella said he was going to address it, but apparently maybe being a little sick. Was unable to play yesterday. Don't know if he's available today. We'll see. But a couple of ESPN announcers it said for the Oklahoma State versus Missouri State matchup reported unsubstantiated rumors that Russell tested positive for PEDs, which suspended him for the tournament. Maybe other play. I don't know. Here we go.
Well, I said it a couple of weeks ago when Auburn played Tennessee that, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but I know a look and a natural look and an unnatural look.
They're big guys, man.
No, they ain't that big ain't the word. And, look, I get that there's different workout programs and some people may be really getting after it. It's kind of like I thought Barry Bonds and Mark McGuire. They were really getting after it, and then their head shrunk about 2 hat sizes, and Sammy Sosa looks like – I don't even know what Sammy Sosa looks like now. Have you seen
Barry Bonds' head got 2 sizes bigger.
I know it did, but when you go off of it, you shrink back down to normal.
Yeah.
And Tennessee looks jacked, abnormally
Well, look at
jacked.
they lead the country in home runs. And
I'm not knocking them. Look, I enjoy that brand of baseball, and they got a guy up there throwing 105 on the mound.
We're not accusing anybody of anything. This is reporting. Here's what you get when you get this. I know we got to get to break real quick. When you get a team that just is apparently this much better than everybody else in the game, well, you're going to start getting this right here, whether it's warranted or not.
Well, when they look like they look.
And you got to look, too. So, against another break, stay tuned. More Saturday Sports Countdown right after this.
So, you finally got the boat, ATV, or side-by-side of your dreams, huh? But make it yours with marine-grade audio that'll provide crisp, high-quality sound that's loud enough to be heard, whether you're cruising on the lake or hitting a mud hole. Come see Steve at the Car Stereo Shop in Auburn, so you'll be ready to crank up the volume. Whoa, but wait, you don't have to pull out of the water and trailer it to Auburn. The Car Stereo Shop can handle all of your work at any one of the Lake Martin marinas.
Finding a job might be tough, but starting your new career has never been easier. Wellborn Cabinet in Ashland has a wide array of career opportunities with benefits. General labor production, skilled cabinet builders, product assembly line, shipping, over-the-road truck drivers, clerical, marketing, security, daycare, office clerks, and so much more. Apply in person, 38669 Highway 77 South in Ashland, or online at wellborn.com. Building cabinets, building careers, and building our community.
At Russell Medical, our transitional care unit is a great alternative to nursing home care after a medical or surgical hospital stay. Transitional care increases strength and endurance through skilled nursing and therapy programs to promote a safe return home. Enjoy on-site therapy, private rooms, an activity center, and more. Call Russell Medical today to see if our transitional care unit is the right care for you.
Skag, the toughest name in lawnmowers. Unmatched quality and performance for over 3 decades. The clear choice, the best mower money can buy for work or at home. Top lawn care professionals and discerning homeowners know that Skag means productivity and reliability. Every Skag mower is proudly built right here in the USA. Don't settle for anything less than simply the best. Skag.
Satterfield Outdoor Living on Highway 280 in Alex City.
Something big is coming. Something so big, it'll change the world of chicken sandwiches. Zaxby's new signature sandwich with Zax sauce or new spicy Zax sauce. Because the chicken sandwich war ain't over yet. The new signature sandwich. All the other little sandwiches can run along. We'll take it from here.
Might as well end the show on something hot, right? No pun intended. Talking about hot bats and a hot team, Tennessee. 2 announcers for ESPN calling that the game that I alluded to earlier, Oklahoma State, Missouri State, had a comment during the game yesterday, and then, of course, it came out that Evan Russell did not play in the regional yesterday, and Vitello said he was going to address it afterwards. Lowell Galalindo said they lost their starting catcher. This is the play-by-play now guy for that game. He said it was pretty crazy. Failed a drug test, so Evan Russell is suspended for the rest of the season. So Tennessee is going to have their whole rest of the team tested tomorrow, or the NCAA is. So it's going to be interesting to see if that's just one player thing or throughout the whole entire program. Performance-enhancing drugs is what it is, said former Arkansas outfielder and ESPN color commentator Troy Eklund, I believe is his name, Eklund. He said the statements, then somebody comes back and said the statements are riddled with inaccuracies. Vitello's statement denies accusation as Tennessee's actions. Russell is on Tennessee's 27-man active roster this weekend. The rosters are submitted roughly 30 to 90 minutes before the start of the weekend series. Well, stay tuned. That's all I can tell you.
Well, that's the easiest thing to say there, Brett, because, signs point to there's something going on. I'll leave it at that. You got a guy up there throwing 105, and you got guys hitting dingers. I'm not talking about barely leaving the park. I mean, leaving the park by 100 feet. And they look,
a guy throwing 105.
And they look jacked. Their small guys look jacked. That center fielder looks jacked to me. And when I say jacked, it's an abnormal build. And maybe I'm wrong. And I'm not trying to knock their efforts. And it may be there may be zero to this, but
they're a good baseball team.
Yeah, sure.
And again, we don't want to diminish anything that they've done this year.
One of the best SEC baseball teams I can.
But I will say this too, and I watched 3 separate times they lost a game this year, which ain't been very much. One was Alabama, one was Auburn, and then one was to that team right before they lost to Alabama, and they about started a fight in all 3 games. It's like there ain't no way you beat us, and Auburn kind of on that game on Saturday kind of did a little bat flip, and it kind of got ugly in both teams, and Auburn won the game. But Tennessee has been known, and Luke and I talked about this several weeks ago, being kind of instigators, like sliding home and touching home plate with your forefinger, and doing what you do, and you trot around and jawing at the other dugout. And when it was turned on them, they wanted to fight. Now, they tried to fight Alabama and Auburn, both of them. So a little bit on edge too. A little bit, how dare you come up here and beat us kind of feel. Then Kentucky beat them 2 out of 3 at Kentucky's. But the games I saw them lose were at Tennessee, and I mean the environment and everything around it was like trying to start a fight. So
well, it's going to be a fun watch.
It is,
because when you win the SEC tournament as easy as they did, and you've got a mid-50s win season and 7 or 8 losses on the season.
That's right.
And something like this comes up, and if there's where there's smoke, there's fire. We'll see.
Well, we'll see what happens today.
I don't think that announcer went on and just said something he wasn't told.
He said it like he was given some information that everybody knew about, that this had already been released. Maybe it had not been released, so they're backpedaling a little bit. But there was a reason Evan Russell missed yesterday's game, and I'm not sure he was sick. So we'll see. Maybe he was. That's going to wrap it up for Saturday Sports Countdown. Again, I want to thank everybody for watching and listening. We hope you have a fun and safe weekend. For Randy Lee, I'm Brett Pritchard saying we've enjoyed it. We hope you did. See you next time.
Tails are wagging and pets are bragging about Zoom to Groom. Columbus, Phoenix City, and Smith Station. Zoom to Groom comes to you. It's mobile pet grooming from the comfort of your driveway. Schedule your appointment now online at zoomtogroom.net or by phone at 334-740-9909.
They say we live in an age of big data, where computers and fancy algorithms are supposed to know you best. But at Country Financial, we know helping you own your future requires, well, something much bigger. Contact your local Country Financial representative and start planning for your future with a personal touch.
Hi, John. You have messages.
Not now, phone. I'm driving.
You know you want to text your friends.
Texting and driving is illegal. No distractions, period. People die that way. Eating, putting on makeup.
Scroll through your music?
Nope.
Your girlfriend just texted. She's bored.
Sorry, not worth dying for.
Good call. She seems a little clingy.
Don't text your life goodbye. Drive safe, Alabama. A message from your Alabama Department of Transportation.
Are you looking for something really good for lunch? Are you tired of the same old fast food? Well, go to Buck's. Get a meat and 2 sides or a meat and 3 sides for the best deal in town. Buck's always serves up the best food, including fried chicken, wings, hamburger steaks, catfish, shrimp, and yes, of course, the famous Buck cheeseburger basket. And Buck's has dinner specials too. So if it's your turn to cook dinner, Buck's will be glad to do it for you. We appreciate your business and look forward to serving you.
Whoever you are, wherever you race, hit the track like a champion. The YZ250F and the YZ450F Monster Energy Yamaha Racing Editions. Only from Yamaha.
Fast, fresh, and friendly. That's the Allen Brew Market mission to our customers on the go. Allen Brew Markets of Talladega County fuel your vehicle and you with the best coffee, drinks, snacks, and food, so you can get your day on the fast track. Allen Brew Markets are always convenient with Sylacauga locations on Main Avenue, Highway 280, and Old Birmingham Highway. Allen Brew Markets has everything for the family on the go, and we're always brewing up great specials. Fast, fresh, and friendly. Our guarantee to you.
Tails are wagging and pets are bragging about Zoom to Groom. Columbus, Phoenix City, and Smith Station. Zoom to Groom comes to you. It's mobile pet grooming from the comfort of your driveway. Schedule your appointment now online at zoomtogroom.net or by phone at 334-740-9909.
They say we live in an age of big data, where computers and fancy algorithms are supposed to know you best. But at Country Financial, we know helping you own your future requires, well, something much bigger. Contact your local Country Financial representative and start planning for your future with a personal touch.
Hi, John. You have messages.
Not now, phone. I'm driving.
You know you want to text your friends.
Texting and driving is illegal. No distractions, period. People die that way. Eating, putting on makeup.
Scroll through your music?
Nope.
Your girlfriend just texted. She's bored.
Sorry, not worth dying for.
Good call. She seems a little clingy.
Don't text your life goodbye. Drive safe, Alabama. A message from your Alabama Department of Transportation.
Are you looking for something really good for lunch? Are you tired of the same old fast food? Well, go to Buck's. Get a meat and 2 sides or a meat and 3 sides for the best deal in town. Buck's always serves up the best food, including fried chicken, wings, hamburger steaks, catfish, shrimp, and yes, of course, the famous Buck cheeseburger basket. And Buck's has dinner specials too. So if it's your turn to cook dinner, Buck's will be glad to do it for you. We appreciate your business and look forward to serving you.